Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin Nabi al-Ummi. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ijma'in. Amma ba'd yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi. يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Okay, we welcome everyone this afternoon. I guess this is Sunday, the 27th of July, 2021. Yeah, the 25th. That's exactly what I got wrote. The 25th, 2021. We can remember several times we've been over some ayats in Quran, especially relating to Yusuf and his brothers, Pharaoh, and what have you. And there's a statement where Yusuf says, "Put me over the storehouses, for I know their value." Now for us, that's a big statement because we've went over that many times. But how do we feel about how things are here in America? We see that America, the government of America has gone crazy. The people of America have gone into a deep sleep, even a psychosis. In other words, if we look at life right now, today, on this date, we see people moving around in a trance. Although there are some signs of movement and clarification, you see some people have changed the structure of certain boats or ships to go out on the ocean and clean up the ocean. Some are working on rivers and garbage dumps and what have you to clean up. There's some new plans by some governments and people and organizations to slow down carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. There's a lot of those things happening right now. But they're too slow to affect the environment. So here we come at this time where we're part of an institution that have been on this case for decades. And we have a proposal to go over. It's not a proposal, this is just an offhand proposal. It's not a detailed proposal. When it says, "Put me over the storehouses," this is what Yusuf alayhi salam is saying to the king of those days. Put me over the storehouses because I know their value. In other words, he has some ability to see, to pick up on historical events and where they might lead. So he's telling Pharaoh, put me over the storehouses because I know their value. That's the same thing we're saying to the government and to all those people that have some authority, that now you have to incorporate some of the people in your process of living and carrying on business that knows what's going on, that not only know which way things are going, have already told you which way they're going, and that are willing to do it. without some big cost of $1 billion salary and a big house on the hill, without any of that. They're willing to do this because they've expected this all along. They've been actually planning for it. If you listen to the way some people have been talking, they've been planning for this for decades. Because being a student of Quran, history, hadith, and all of those things, and just human endeavor as it goes, there's certain patterns in history, right? And so you pick up on those patterns, and when the government realizes that you picked up on certain patterns, they come out to squash you, to get rid of you, to derail you, and what have you. For us, this has been going on, let's call it 40 years, but it's really closer to a little over 50 years. Yeah. 50 years would be back in 71. Yeah. Well, it's been going on a lot longer than that. Because believe it or not, the government picks up on people that might have potential to do certain things. And in the 1960s, in my neighborhood, the government picked up on this guy here as a little group leader. Now, all we did was lift weights and do stuff that young people do. Every day after work, we'd go to one of our friends' house where we had all the iron. And there was a whole team of young people that was a positive activity that we did, And now, the government see that different. If you're going back in the 65 and 66, when they look at that, they see that like a gang leader type. Although we're not a gang. We're doing this when we get off work. We just enjoying life. But the government sees it as a possible, in those days, they looked at it, that's a possible leadership trap. Plus, everybody knows these people and the whole little region we're talking about. They have a certain reputation, and they come home from prison in 65 with this black consciousness, kind of like black nationalism. The government sees that as, we don't like that. In those days, the government was quick to follow up on things, so they get out right away and they mislead things. What they did with one person was, this guy had two friends. They borrowed, this guy didn't smoke weed, he didn't smoke cigarettes, he didn't do nothing. So he just was a friendly, a little local leader that everybody liked. But the government see everything like that as a problem. Number one, everybody in the neighborhood in those days was drinking wine. That's what they used to drink, white port and lemon juice. I guess y'all didn't pay no attention to that out on this side. Did y'all see the movie Panther, anybody? Nobody saw the movie Panther? Anyway, I was going to mention white port and lemon juice, WPLJ, I guess. Really good wine. White port and lemon. It's a long story. Anyway, but now suppose you have a black consciousness, but you also have a discipline going with it. That this is not a big deal, you're going around and pushing this, but the lifestyle shows something. The lifestyle, it shows health consciousness, black consciousness, and human consciousness. It's very simple things. And the government sees that if them niggas stop smoking weed and get off that wine, right, and start living like that. Which now remember, this is catching hold. Everybody doing it now. We have a team where I am, then some of the other brothers doing a little team. And all the brothers been in the penitentiary. They used to live iron. So they starting little teams. When they used to come out, all they would do was come out and start getting drunk again, start getting fat from, all that stuff. Now there's a neighborhood consciousness. At the same time, they have civil rights going on, human rights going on. If this is 65, the Watts Rebellion, and all those things are going on at that time. The government keeps their nose on everything. So they, not only Oakland, but everywhere else. Now this is the same year, if you're talking about 1966, they're getting ready to start the Black Panther Party in Oakland. That's when it started. Okay, so you active with everybody's in that mood. That's why it took off like that, because it's like lighting a match in a gas-filled room. Boom, it goes up. And so that's the way young people were feeling. We're tired of being oppressed. We're tired of this. And people in those days were, black conscience was alive. It was before Haran and all that was big. So the neighborhood was a neighborhood. There and right here in D.C. Little kid walk out the street and he got his nose running. Come in here, boy. Any neighbor. I know it sounds like that's niggas didn't do that. They did that. That was normal. Come in here, boy, your mouth, nose running, and you ain't even ate no food. You ate? No, ma'am, I ain't ate today. Well, sit down and eat. That's what they did. And if you act a fool, they would whoop your behind. Your neighbor didn't have to go down and ask your mama, can I whoop that little old nigga there for acting a fool, right? They didn't do that. When they say it takes a village, it was a real Negro village. That's been gone a long time. Okay, but now this thing about put me over the storehouses, this is a thing about a person or people that might have some remembrance of those type things and then who have gained experience. Suppose history took all of those people out in between that period. Let's say from 1965 up to now. All of those people that had those ideas have either been killed, frightened, and done away with, which they have. We would agree that they have. And the only thing that the people come in contact with is this foolishness they have on TV, internet, and you could sell bubble gum in a frying pan, and you could have 500,000 people on your internet thing. But yet the government have developed a system that if you talking the truth and every week you listen to it, everything that they said the week before comes out, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And don't nobody hear about it. There's something going on. We'll get to that later. Okay. Put me over the storehouses. That means put me over the resources of the society. That's the same thing we're saying about America. That may be that you've been tested and been in every environment. You got to realize that there are very few people that have been through this whole process. Let's say hardly nobody lived. Actually, they didn't. The government jailed, killed, and did away with all of those people and made them examples. There are some people, or not some, but I know one that saw all that stuff getting ready to happen to him. He got up and left the country. Just left, so you keep it. Because they had already saw this happen before. Take their heroes, drag them down this road behind their chariot. This is your hero. And we saw what they did to all other Negroes. That's what Boss Man did, and that's what he used to do. Now Boss Man being drugged down the road in a chariot. Yeah, he's kicking up dust. His system is being drugged down. But now, out of this collage of history, there should be a group, a force that sees what's happening and has a history of being involved in that, but they, instead of wanting to see the system go down and collapse, because they're people, and the people, not when we say the people, that means the people all around, or his people, or their people. But then there are the people, that means the American people as a whole, all kinds of them. That they're victims of all of this. They don't have any idea. And they've also been so used to disunity and division and being diverted that if they picked up on it, they would know better than try to do anything about it. And with that going on, every day you get up, the news is worse. The fires in California, Arizona, up in Canada, the temperature in America and the things that are going on in America. I was watching a trailer last night. It was Tidal Wave or something like that. You know, like a tidal wave. You know those type of movies, 2012. And the tidal wave was coming, and the people that was trying to tell them that there's something going on in the environment that's going to produce this tidal wave or something like that. And they said, this nigga here is crazy. That's the general outline. Or like the old monster movie where a little kid sees a big kind of monster, and the monster is gobbling everything up. And nobody believes the poor dumb little kid, but then there's always some man that befriends the little kid, and before it's over, they do away with the monster. But the little kid telling everybody this thing here is, I saw it myself. This boy is crazy. You know, right? We see that, excuse me from being aged. That's old stuff. Like, anybody ever see The Blob? You saw The Blob? The Blob, 1958. That stuff was, but anyway, The Blob, just going around, just eating up everything. I mean, it's just absorbing everything. It's ridiculous. But we actually went to see that. That stuff, we went to see that all the time. Every Saturday, or whatever it was, you know, you'd go to the movie. That was a big deal in those days, and that was The Blob. Okay, in modern times, there's a blob too. This is a real blob, though. This blob is consuming everything. It's destroying everything in its path. And sometimes you would feel like the little kid trying to tell her there's a monster right over the hill and it's coming. And everybody said, this kid, what you been drinking, kid? Let me smell your breath. You drank some of your daddy's whiskey or something, right? Well, the attitude we have to have, now this is where patience, discipline, and long suffering come from. Because this is the way people have been treated throughout history. This is the same, think of the pattern. When every teacher, preacher, prophet or messenger came to their people, they said, this guy here is drinking, man. This guy here is consuming poetry. This guy, right? They all say the same thing. And that guy has to stand up in front of everybody and say, man, if you don't get down with this, it's going to look bad for you. Right? Okay. That's the same thing that's been going on in this world. But now, we're at a different stage. This is an emergency stage. So in an emergency stage, you have an emergency program. And it's a behavior change. So not only do the society, if the society is going to have a behavior change, we have to have a behavior change. So we're talking about only what we control, our behavior change. And we'll get to that later. So if the average person that would look at the world the way it is and see what's needed to change it, they would go right back home and go to bed. They would go right there. It's too big. It's too complicated. It's too many things intersecting in all of this, right? Where do you even start? Should you start with homelessness? That's one of the places we're going to start. But you can have plenty of work. You got to be dedicated to it because there's millions of homes. I didn't say hundreds of thousands or hundreds. Millions. And along with those millions, homelessness is just a ayat, a sign of all the things that's going on wrong in their life. That's all. So in your kit, homeless kit, it has to be done on a big level. Yeah, that homelessness has to be done on a gigantic level. The cleanup on the land, air, and water has to be done on a big level, a big, gigantic level. The people will have to be incorporated into this movement. Let's call it As-Sabiqun Liberation Movement or As-Sabiqun Liberation Organization. To liberate people from everything that's holding them down and everything that's holding them back. And idealism says that if we live in a society this beautiful, then everybody should be able to acquire a reasonable lifestyle. Reasonable. With a certain amount of happiness. Well, what if everybody's here and the leadership is like the people that last week? The richest people in the world, or let's say in the U.S., jumped on a rocket ship and went up in the sky and come back down. You talking about Nero fiddled while Rome burned? Can you imagine how much good they could have done with those dollars? Then the guy comes back and said, I'm going to give Van Jones something like $100 million. It's going to take a whole lot more money than that. And if you want to shut a nigga up, give him more money than he know what to do with. And he just going to be, it's going to take him 6 years for him to figure out what to do. Anyway, that's to take heat off of them. Those people are the forerunners of the destruction of America. And $200 million, that's what they gave away to two people. The guy made that last month. The guy, that's a month's, he give away a month's salary. And the pandemic, whatever they call this thing, they made more. They made more. And all the money that they gave, the government give the people have to go buy stuff at the store. Right? They need it. And guess what? When this stuff started, I used to go to Giant sometime and I looked at the prices. The type of margarine we cook with, either we use that $2 or $3 kind, or Giant, which Giant is a semi-halal type. It's got hog and stuff in there. But Giant, you could tell the food has less because the people that owned it and started it had anyway. So you look at their margarine, and it was 99 cents last year. Now it's $1.49, maybe more now. Okay, so who benefited from all this money they give away? Who benefits? The people that's already got all the money. Me and you ain't benefited nothing. It just kept them afloat. But it guaranteed the eventual destruction of the United States. Okay. So this go around, we ready to give it all we got. There's stuff around here. There's property, there's cars, and what have you. Okay, there's a car that we took out here to the Negro. I didn't know it was a Negro that was working on the house over here till I went out and saw him, but it's the same Negro. And if I would have known that's who it was, I might not have done it, because there's a lot of garbage that was brought in, and people want to cause you trouble. They just bring a lot of junk that you can't use and pop it right there, and stuff like that. And other people, they might have friends that they'll come and fix the sink or what have you, 90%. Leave one little piece going to take you 2 months to fix that. All kind of little dumb stuff. Point I'm making is, when we say we have survived here, we have survived everything you could imagine. But we're not going through that anymore right now. It's not house cleaning, but it's like that car right there is a nice car. Little white one, not that one right there. The one right out there ran like a watch. Then you could hear click, 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 click. So all they did was turn some, whatever it is. That's my opinion. Because I drove it to Florida and I drove it back. Now, I'm talking about those cars, but I could be talking about any of them that you saw running around here. All the cars you saw parked around here for years. When I'd get hold to them, one little thing would go wrong. It wouldn't go wrong, they would, Now, when I transferred to somebody else, it's up and running. Just like, and this has been a long pattern of history. Because I didn't want to buy any new car, because if you had those cars, if something go wrong with them, you wouldn't be mad. But if you bought a new car, one that costs, you could buy 10 old cars, which you buy one. And so even if you get a month or 2 months, use out of it, and then you have to sell it, you know. And the people that get it is getting a good car because you have professionals buying your cars. They're old, they're a good model, they run good. That's the way that go. Okay, so if I come back from Florida and that car in the drive right out there, and it's running perfect. Then you get there the next morning, click, 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 click. And then you get there the morning after that, you can't hardly get no compression. Okay, the little car, I bought that to go to California. And everybody thought as soon as I got it fixed, I was going to go to California because I had to go to a funeral. Okay. I had another car, ran perfect. We got on the highway, drove out. There's a big flag up there. It's about 100 miles from here, out on the highway. And we get out there. As soon as we get to that flag, the car started running bad. So we turn around, and then we get to right where that big flag is. Health food store there and all that. So, let's say that's 100 miles away. That car down there was fixed so we would get to that same spot. Because the way I was giving it out, I'm going to hit the highway. Well, I didn't hit the highway. I drove around here. Then I drove out to wherever it is, Sam's, and drove back. Now we're getting too close to the same distance that we went through out there. I took my family to the train station. Must have been last Saturday or something like that. Started heating up a little bit, but not bad. Put some water in it, and it ran out exactly like it did before. If I would have jumped on the highway, it would have ran perfect for 100 miles. Then it would have started heating up. This is not new. I got, let's say, 100 cars, and all that type of stuff happened to all of them. But they are all good cars. That's why I call them expediency cars. I'll get them. If they stop, I'll stop and left them on the highway. Beautiful Volvo right out there. I just left it on the highway. Other cars, I left them. Okay. But we're not into that right now. I'm into walking, riding the bus, and doing everything else. Other people do it. Hey, it's fine. And it's going to be harder on them because it's easier once you get in a car, a few people can follow you. But if you on the bus, on the subway, you want to have fun, you can jump off the bus at this corner, run over, catch the other bus just coming by. Then you get up to the other street, there's a bus going that way, you can jump on that bus just for fun. You keep boss man, because boss man is there. That's one thing. Last week, 3 weeks ago, we talked about boss man on the line. The white man on the line. That means you can feel him. He's there. You have to worry about it. That boy is on the line, and his Negroes is on the line. Now, these Negroes we're talking about now are Negroes that should know better. They've been around for a long time, and they heard and they saw it all. They're not convinced. They're still with boss man. It don't make no difference what you say. They sit right there with boss. You say, damn, brothers, what the hell is wrong with you? Didn't we just talk about whirling wind? And then the wind started whirling. They look at it just like they don't see it. That the hell is not important. You can do that 1,000 times in a row. This is a serious thing now. And the white man tell them niggas to do this, and they say, and they'll be telling, boss man, that wall is red. Boss man tell her, that's a green wall, nigga. You know what the niggas will do? Boss man said it's green, that's a green wall. And that's red, I got a color chart. It looks red to me, but boss man said it's green. Do you know? Hey, something is, anyway, collaborators cannot move on. The ability to withstand collective laughter, that's what you have to do. If you're going to change the world, you have to be able to deal with people and they're collectively laughing at you. Collectively, all of them is laughing because boss man told them to laugh. They hint to boss man, after listening to this for 5 years, 10 years, 25, almost 30 years, been listening to this, it looks like nigga did not tell you this is what it is. And they look, okay, that's what boss man said. It's a type of insanity. It's a type of insanity. And why would a people who appear on the surface to be intelligent, they actually went to school, a lot of them. They can read and write. A lot of these niggas can read and write. They read and write. They can deal with these cameras and type and all that kind of crap. They can do all of that. And you can take the dice, lock them together and roll them out 7 every time, 11 every time. And you never crap out. No snake eyes, no threes, right? You can do that with them watching. And they just say, yeah, that's great. Never crap out. In other words, you're always right. How the hell are you going to be always right? Who can do that? Tell the truth. Who can do that consistently? And then somebody else tells you that's not what you're looking at. And you can retire people for decades, like a good pitcher, people come up to bat, they call it retire, I guess he just throw them boys out. You can come up to bat 50,000 times and throw everybody, don't nobody even get a hit. Don't nobody even get a hit. They don't get no hit, they don't get no bunt, they don't get nothing. They don't get nothing. And the people continue on. Okay, the pitcher is going to have to be of a special kind. The pitcher will have to have studied psychology, sociology, history, and they definitely will have to have studied Islam, and they will have to come up with something of love, kindness, and stuff like that. They're going to have to. Because if you start doing or saying anything else, you'll be saying, nigga, what's wrong with you? That's what you'll be saying. You don't drink. I smell your breath. You don't drink. And your eyes, you don't look like you use no dope. If you do, it's before you come here. Or after, way after, So what is it? Is it some psychological thing? Because you're going to have to do research and figure out what are they feeding the people. It's not some people literally, if somebody was coming here, they'll open a shot out there. And the people will, if they were Shias, they came here, they'll go out there. Ain't nobody going for that. They bought that. They ain't bought nothing. The Iranians bought it for them. Because the Iranians, those Iranians, are the Iranians that's facing the same thing, right, that they're facing. Those are the same Iranians that after doggone near 50 years, 40 years, they have a program, somebody may have been beaten in the head and just before total recovery where they can't hardly walk, they go out to a program anniversary revolution. And the whole environment is different. Everybody is there from the old days up to now. And they playing with the Negro. But you got to be able to, people to play with you. It ain't no big deal. A lot of niggas get mad. Nigga, you can't say that to me. But if you kind of grown, when you know who you are, know yourself, know your enemy, right? 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories, right? That's 1,000, 5,000, 3,000 years old, something like that. So you sit there with the people and they be playing with you. You could tell that the talks that they're giving and the ignorance they're showing toward you when you used to be, the main guy, and they're not even asking you to speak. They just ask you to come to the program. You want to come and see. Then they bring the food out, and a couple of guys say, "You gonna eat that?" Trying to make you paranoid. I said, "Of course I am." Because everybody there know what's going on, and so some are playing with you one way, some are playing with you the other. So we may snatch the bowl, give me that, and you just, let me show you how I look at it, gobble it all down. Now what, sucker? Who are you talking to? But they trying to, you may have been doing that stuff for, that may be 50 years old on your watch, like people gonna try to make you paranoid. You may have been through that stuff 50 years ago and become an expert at it. I mean, but they may just be, this is the first time they're gonna try it because they just dummies, The point I'm making is that where we are now, the organizational reality that we're living in is time to evolve. And part of that evolution is closing the door on all of that. If there's a car out there and it don't run, somebody can fix it. If they don't fix it, we'll leave it there. That's all. Whatever was going on here, it ain't going to be going on no more. We're just going, just a new day. People have to have the ability to evolve or force themselves to evolve and stop doing that same old bull doo-doo every day, same old dumb stuff like, hey, this is all right. Okay, that's fine when that was something that we're doing. It's perfect, it's just fun. But if the West Coast is halfway burnt down, the East Coast down in Dixie is almost flooded everywhere, right? And in the other part of the world, the sun and baked niggas to where the white folks look black almost. There's so much baked they behind, right? And ain't nobody gonna upgrade their behavior. Boss man said, the people have families, wives, children, and everything, and they listening to boss man. They listening to boss man, and boss man already, I don't want to say it all the time, but that boss man got the people in Iraq, Abu Ghraib, all that hanging all on the wall. And then he run off and leave and tell the people, they said, boss man, can we go with you? Because we snitched on everybody. We've been saying this for 100 years, not quite 100 years, but every time we open our mouth, we said the same thing. Boss man gonna run off and leave your black ass behind. Yes, you'll be there by yourself. Why? He always do it. He don't know other. If you say, boss man, you gonna leave me? He said, leave you? We don't have no visa for people that put their life on the line, their families on the line, and Afghanis that did it, Arabs that did it. We don't have no. It'll take us years. By the time you go through that process, you're all gonna be dead. That's what boss man, isn't that what he said today on the news? Well, day last week, right? With who? With everybody. I don't care whether you snitched on people in Iraq. I don't care whether you snitched on people in Afghanistan. I don't care where it happened. The Philippines, everywhere. Vietnamese. You know the Vietnamese? You ever heard of the boat people before? They wouldn't take them off in the helicopter, so the Vietnamese got rafts and boats. They buy the millions. We've been telling on our friends, our brothers and sisters, for decades, we got to get out of here. Did the white man come and help them? Mm-mm. Does he help them today? No. He's always done the same. Does the Negro and the Vietnamese do the same thing? They stay with boss man till boss man. I just don't believe it, but that's what we got. Okay. So we have to make plans that deal with that. Collaborators cannot move on. Why? Inability to understand. They don't. Something is wrong. I believe they put something in the water. Let's follow that up. Let's find out what they put in the water to make niggas stupid. Let's do a study. Why not? White man do studies. Let's do research. That if the white man come up the bat and strike out every time, the Negro will trust him and the nigger can hit the ball out of the park every time. No strikes, just home runs. Every time he come up to bat, do like Babe Ruth, point at the place he's going to hit the ball. Bam, there it go. And the white man struck out in Afghanistan, struck out in Iraq, struck out in Lebanon, struck out in Vietnam, struck out in Korea. And he strikes out everywhere, up and down the street. And he has Israelis that's teaching him how to strike out. He don't know it. Right? And blow his whole hole card. And they listen to him. This niggas, it's unbelievable. Okay, collective. Okay. With this stuff that's going on right now, we're here on our own terms. We've offered boss man because of many reasons. It's not like offering your services, but we say, boss man, it might be a little over your head. You're in a historical process that others have been and don't look too good. Now we're willing to help. No charge. We just say, you go over and just leave everything alone. You do keep on doing what you're doing, but you leave us alone and we'll fix whatever we can. Because we've had experience. That's what Joseph was telling them. He said, put me over the storehouses. That's what he said. That's what we're saying, the same thing. This is why it's been our favorite. That means you go on and mind your business. all of the social, economic, and everything dealing with these people, you just stay out of the way. If you want to help a little bit, just ask us and we'll tell you what we need. But homelessness, all you got to do is just get out of the way and we'll build, whatever we're going to do, we'll hustle up the money. We'll either get it from you because you owe it to us for all the wrong you've been doing. We'll start with $200 million. If they don't give it to us, it doesn't make a difference. We'll hustle it up. It doesn't make a difference. We'll hustle it up. Why? Hell, we've been hustling up for... People didn't just turn against us last week. Right? Everybody in Oakland. Can you imagine? Everybody in Oakland was against us. Everybody in LA, I want you to try to understand. Everybody in our organization was working for Boss Man. I'll try to say it again. It makes you feel a little. Everybody. Nobody was on our side. Not a single one. Out of the Negroes, out of the Arabs, out of everything, because it was clear. We're saying this is where we're going. So they say, good, we'll load you up with, why you think that with housefuls of people and universities and nobody sticks with you? The town that where you from, they think they done isolated you so bad that they're going to control what people think about you. They might do it for a week or a month, or even a few years. But it ain't going to last. Why? We're getting ready to flip the script. And then there's the Negroes. What did you do? Well, we stole the Masjid, we stole the property, then we let everything run out, and maybe 5 times or 8 times Imam Musa came and turned the water on and did stuff like that, bought lawnmowers, cut grass, did all that. And he's a bad man, though. He's a bad man. He did something. He asked a question when you go to Oakland. He asked the man, second in command, what was the deal with, did you say such and such about, it's called a Haile Berry and all that. But the Negro is so forgetful, because I told his ex-wife down there, Sister Bahia, that's his ex-wife. When I married her, he said, just trust me. Of course I knew better, but I said, okay, years ago. I give the niggas a try, but I'm going to manipulate this thing. And all the stuff that ever happened to school and this and that and all that, we're manipulating that. And they're happily participating. Why? Because they think they're running everything. Imam Musa's a figurehead. When they'd have a graduation or anything here, they would try to keep me away. And you would think Sister Bahia and Khalid or whatever name, you would, and Muhafiz and them, you would think they put everything together. And just $500,000, it ain't nothing, for the poor kids, right? And them people would say they haven't paid, they can't go to, I said, don't worry about it. There was one family, it was $3,000, $4,000. I said, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. They haven't paid. I said that they got a dumb parent. You don't put the kid out of a good school because they got dumb parents. That's what white folks do. How they want to run the school? Nice little clean-cut youngster, Muslim, come over here and he uses a Subway, whatever they call the thing. And he has a little butter knife. We have to suspend him. I said, the nigga got a little butter knife in case the niggas on the subway. You know, they see a nice little clean cut youngster. You know how the little Negro kids is. They're not bad, but they're not good either. Right? And he don't feel comfortable, and he gets a little butter. We got to suspend him. I said, suspend a nigga for having a butter knife? Good God Almighty. You know why they did that? Because that's the rules of the white man. Yeah, that's the white man's rules. You bring that little thing in here. And they fired me as a principal because I wanted everybody to go to, I wanted the school to be like I would have been comfortable there. So they would send somebody to office. The office was right back there. This is a bad kid. So I said, hey, man, I'm fixing to go make a couple of runs. You want to go with me? Hey, want to stop, get a little ice cream? Yeah, ma'am. So he come back grinning and everything. And, hey, going back on in class. And sure, yes, sir. What did you do with him? Well, we just had a little ice cream and stuff. Because that's what I would have did. I was making a school that I would have wanted to go to. So I was always going to the principal's office. So I would want the principal, I was thinking, to take me out, buy me some ice cream, and let's have a little party, right? Then by the time we get back, I'd be too tired to do anything but good, right? So they fired me. I'm the principal. Running the school. They can't technically work. They wouldn't bring nobody to the office no more because this niggas ruining the school. They was white folks. Everything about them was white. Everything. Our school, everything about the Negroes. One girl come all the way from Canada. I know her daddy from the islands. Got his eyes on the shears. You know what I mean? I watch these people. Not that I watch them. But if I had told her so-and-so coming over and they got certain people guarding them, and you said, who is that Negro? Well, he from the islands, this is that. Pretty soon, you'll see him later. I said, boy, I told her so-and-so is lucky. The big I told her, lucky these niggas here. It's like that the whole thing. Anyway, that's the whole thing. Can you imagine, what would you do? You remember in the scriptures they talk about that Allah will save the city if you find one righteous person. You ever hear those numbers? Suppose you got a movement and you can't find nobody. Everybody is a liar. And all the liars support each other. All the liars support each other. So we got it easy. When we put all this stuff out, all the liars are going to be lying and everybody else is going to know because everybody already know me. Well, what did he do? He said something in the good, didn't I said, is that the same lady that would be jumping in and out, peeking and hiding, and was married to this guy? And it seemed like they had the girl marry him and then pretend that she liked me, and that would trap me into a little Halle Berry looking lady. If I was a dummy, they didn't add it up. How many imams you know got 15 years of celibacy? The niggas don't do that. They don't do it. But if you're busy, you run in the hills, you're full of juice, all right, but they don't even believe it. And they spend all their time trying to drop something. You got to drop some white girl in there, you got to drop, and it don't work. They never did it. They don't know what it is to be committed to nothing. They are, just like in the game, we used to have a saying, that nigga will never be nothing. He's too kind to his dick. He can't pimp because he's too kind. He pleasure himself too much. He can't pimp nobody because he, excuse us, language. Nigga's too kind to his dick. That used to be a saying. Instead of pimping the lady, he's got spending all the time knocking her over. Now, when they come to me, some of the pimps, and they was trying to be slick and sent some of the girls down there to me to, do a little smuggling, stuff like that. One of them, nice young lady, that New Orleans look, that curly hair, that Creole look. Now, I think the girl was playing, but she pretended to get hit by a car, so she'd have to stay behind with me for a while. So she said, yeah, our family is developing, talking about our organization, and, I'd like to hold for you and stuff like that, because everybody wanted to be a pimp. And I said, young lady, you would have to have an elastic vagina to sell, the amount of money we make, one package, you would have to have a plastic, elastic, flexible vagina to make the kind of, what we're talking about. Well, so I made her my executive secretary. So she's traveling all over the world picking up money. Right? She just was in a whirlwind. I never even thought, because I said, we too big. I said, ain't nobody down here. And then they get to realizing that, wait a minute, the niggas she's been around is low-lifted, $2 hustling niggas, right? And they made a mistake sending somebody like that down to where I'm at to try to hook me, get me hooked up as a New Orleans-looking girl. Well, I did say, hey, your little vagina, I said, yeah, you can just, I'll be busy with that boy so you can go. Can you imagine an executive secretary in those days picking up $50,000 here, picking up certain here, And I remember when they had a fight in Jamaica. I think it was George Foreman, and what was that other Negro name? He got beat up real bad. George Foreman and Smoking Joe. So remember, she's from Oakland. George Foreman is from all that. So I'm down in the South America. So I said, what was Smoking Joe doing? She said, oh, he's playing the ukulele, that big barbecue out there. I said, well, what was George doing? She said, every morning he had that wheelbarrow full of sand, an iron wheelbarrow, not a big rubber, and big old coat, and he was walking in the sand with it and doing stuff. So, because when she'd go to the fight, tender, everybody waving. So, it was I didn't even have to figure out who was going to win the fight. Because what's the name that got lazy, and he's there playing the ukulele with a straw hat on. I said, I declare. I said, what is George doing? And that's just the way the fight looked. That was a long time ago, back in 70. Was that 72 when it happened? Anyway, let me continue. So, there's the different types of managers, and they think you want to be a little pimp style. The smallest nigga in the world is a pimp. So nice little tender come and, oh, I bought this and I bought that and I did. And so finally I might just say, now a pimping nigga would say, BITCH, you got to have my money ready. You know, it's a long story. With girls like that, I got a picture of the blackest woman in the United States. I don't know if y'all ever seen it. Was older than me. That's where I got a lot of game come from. The niggas were saying, I get my money on the dresser. You know what I mean? That means if you pimping the woman, come in and put your money on the dresser. I was ashamed to tell them that my woman put my money under the pillow, you know, under my pillow like a teddy bear or something. You know, it was a big teddy, you know. And I didn't talk, and my partner, he's one of the biggest pimps in town. Man, you gotta, that banking, you gotta. I was just thinking to myself, why would I do that? She already brings me all the money and extra money. What would I do? I just share it. I just say, hey, anyway, that idea about how to treat human beings, the Negro is stupid. She don't understand how to get the same people. Oh, I bought this. They didn't spend $1,000 or so, or this, that, and another, and you're gonna give them $5,000 or $10,000 for just a salary, you know. So I'd say something like, "Did you save any money for me?" I would say this after an hour of them talking. Not that we want to pay bills and pay everybody else for this, that, and other. You know, like a regular manager, you have to do that. I'm saying that people have no real understanding of how to treat people and get the right results out of them. Now, what about you do the same thing around here in Islam, and you don't get everybody works for the white man. He give them $2 or a couple of certificates, and they stand on their head. And you can offer them the whole world, because if this stuff go off, they could have everybody be just fine, you know. But they believe boss man. And if they believe him, let them believe him. Okay, collaborators, can I move on? Ability to understand collective, I think that might be left. There's a website, As-Sabiqun, Islamic movement. Great life experience. Thankful, grateful, happy with the results. I don't know what other people experience, but this life is like my son when we slept in the back room at the Masjid in Oakland. And he said, he was saying, basically he was looking at it, he said, it sure looks lonely. That's what he was thinking about. And I was saying, this ain't lonely. This is what I do. You know what I mean? Now, he's young and they want to, you know, they think, I said, no, it's not lonesome. And all the other people, see, and then Allah hook you up to prepare you for what you're going to do. Okay, if you've been making fun of the white man all your life and the white man gets mad and he puts you in the hole all the time, the hole is what it is. The hole is where you go in isolation, segregation, that's what it is. And it becomes a habit. The best thing in the world is for you to be in the hole a lot, because one thing you in there is by yourself, you have to learn how to like yourself, to appreciate yourself and to understand yourself. That's the greatest thing the boss man can do for you, is force you. You're not even calling it force. You just think, oh, you're just learning how to do stuff. And boss man starts you off from you're a little kid. So by the time you get grown, you got the game on it but do you have the game that you can use? The game that you can use. Now that's the difference. If somebody could turn the air down just a little. Okay. Future on my terms. System. System today is unstable, insecure. It has a bad record of double crosses and backstabbing. It's low-lifted and unethical. The system. Okay, we have to reintroduce a whole new system that's different from Abdul Malik now and the people out there. Those people, Chairman Mao this was a teacher. Chairman Mao was a teacher. He said schools are organized around teachers, classrooms, and books. And the longer you stay in school, the dumber you get. That comes from a professional teacher. That's what Chairman Mao was. Is it true? Some people, the longer they've stayed in school, the dumber they got. They got so they couldn't recognize general reality. It's everywhere. They couldn't recognize general reality. It said teachers, classrooms, and books. He said the longer you stay in school, the dumber you get. Look at the people with PhDs and doctor. You ever listen to one of them, Dr. So-and-so? I listen to the lectures all the time on the phone. I listen to them. I'd go to school and listen to them. And when I'd come to any university and talk, everybody would fall in the aisles and love it. All the time. All the time. Just using whatever Allah give you. Okay, let me speed up. Okay, we're going to clarify Abdul Malik now. Hassan Nuruddin and his brother, they were both pretending to be Dar al-Islam types. And they did what they did in California. The other person I'd like to mention is Hashim Alauddin. Hashim Alauddin, now Abdul Malik and Hashim Nim is working together out there. Hashim was part of the curly-headed crew. The sister that I was talking about before, I won't mention her name, starts with a Z. She was part of the curly-headed crew. There's another person that was part of the curly-headed crew, too. He spoke out one time out there. Okay. So the curly-headed crew, I considered this three people. Now, Abdul Malik was semi-curly-headed, but they had a little more middle-class look than Abdul Malik did. But he would be considered a school days. You know the way they do it. Y'all see school days. That look. Do you know niggas actually believe that? They believe it. I don't care what you tell them. Round and lipsy type niggas are dumb. Pointed nose, thin lip niggas is smart. I don't care what you do, you can't stop them from believing. And they believe it. That was the main way. I whooped them all with one. I still whoop them with one hand tied. I don't even untie. I just bump them, thump them. There's no competition at all because they've been to school. And they trust the white man tell them do this or that. That's Abdul Malik. I used to watch him. I watched him with peripheral vision. He's riding and I'm driving. And and I'm watching him. You know, peripheral vision, you could see I'm looking right at him. Of course, I'm looking at the highway too. And he's looking upside my head. And when things don't go their way, they fall apart and shatter. In comes Mukhtar. Mukhtar is saying Abdul Malik was a punk and a sissy, and he gave in too quick. Leave that nigga to me, talking about me. Here's this all these years later. Now, who looks like a damn fool? Me or them niggas? Khadijah and them running around. They look like, and you have so much fun. The main day, I think it was August of probably 2014. Yes, it was. It showed up in the Crescent. So I wrote, on my notes, the upcoming for that Friday. I said we're gonna have popcorn, Cracker Jacks. We're gonna have a big show. And here them niggas come. The police and all of them, they come big time. It's because if they steal everything, you think when I go run, the niggas gonna read what I wrote there? Of course they are. And they're gonna design their thing. And so this stuff happens so much, it just makes you sad that people could be that dumb. It happens over and over again. All I do is write. It's so deadly now that when I write something, it almost like, I know you're watching Boss Man, you got your camera right on the thing. And guess what? Sometimes it happens in a minute. Sometimes it's a day. But you can control, if you're right, you can just write it down there and leave it so it didn't go run, take a walk. And Boss Man will be acting on that. That's what manipulating your environment means. That's what controlling your environment means. That's what Boss Man on the line means. That's what it means. Is that we got Boss Man hooked. It don't make no difference. He's hooked. He can't. I don't care how much he wiggle, how much he flap up out of the water. He's still hooked. Because he swallowed the hook. He didn't just go up and bite it and caught a little piece of his lip. That comes from Boss Man underestimating the Negro. He has a whole historical script. People last 1 year under what we're going to put on these niggas. Nobody has gone past 5 years. Nobody. Nobody even get close to 5 years. We knock them out, and not in the 5th round, but we knocks niggas out in the 1st round. In the 2nd round, nobody has even went past the 3rd round. That includes Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all of them. So suppose you get Boss Man up in the 26th, 27th round. Boss Man's tongue is hanging out. That's why we wrote it out. Y'all remember we wrote, we're prepared to go 500 rounds. That was then. Now we're prepared to go 1,500. Yeah. Boss Man, he's like George Foreman. He knocks niggas out in the 1st round, the 2nd round, and the 3rd round. And he fought Muhammad Ali, rope-a-dope, and all that stuff. What happened in the 8th round? You could tell in the 5th round Foreman was just like washing clothes. You remember? It wasn't hurting it at all. Muhammad Ali didn't do a thing then. Just let it go. He saw what he had him in the seventh, let it go. In the eighth round, he come out, he didn't have no juice, he didn't have no nothing, and he was shocked. He was shocked so bad. See, George Foreman's trainer is one of my best friends. And he said, yeah, man, that worked George over bad. He bought a lion or a tiger trying to get his stuff back. He trying to get his sight back. Now, George came back after the dust and settled. He was weighing 320 pounds. Homeboy brought him down to 245. And he did good. He was fighting up till he was 47, 48 years old. Y'all remember? George was doing good in those days. He couldn't get out of the way of nothing. He couldn't get out of the way of nothing. If you hit him, bam. If you moved at him, you would hit him. Boy, but he would just bam. And he did good. We was all about the same age. And so it did good to see one of our people come back. And he redeemed himself. He redeemed himself. And he always liked certain people like Muhammad Ali and all of them. But he got taught a lesson. Okay, Muhammad Ali should have learned another lesson too, that don't stay out there too long because you're going to get stupid. He stayed out there a while, but everybody liked him. But Muhammad Ali took a long time for him to get the Islamic game. I used to ask, because all of my boxer friends, I said, man, what's happening? When I first met Muhammad Ali, I said, what's happening with him? He said, you mean them girls? I said, yeah. So there's a big old yellow, big-legged girl talking and to him, and he didn't pay no attention to us till we reminded him that we men, you can't talk to a girl when men come to see you. That's old code. Now you can do what you want. And we hooked him up. A lot of people don't know. See, when he come to Oakland with, what's the girl that won the 60 Olympics? Wilma Rudolph. You said you was a neighbor or something like that. Wilma Rudolph, Muhammad Ali, must have been 69 or 70. They came to Oakland, and we was in pocket. If I should show you a picture of my partner, he had a pocket full of money. He hooked him up, because that's what we used to do. We knew he had problems, and we was with him. But his problem then was girls, and them people knew his problem was girls. And here they come with Veronica Porsche, kind of curly hair. She looked the same way that New Orleans looked, the girl I was telling you about down there. That's the way she looked. Curly hair, light-skinned, or not light, but that New Orleans Creole look, which most people prefer that. They like it. Not too light, but light enough. Curly hair, stuff like that. You can have one of them and still be in the ballpark. You ain't trying to run around with the octoroom and nothing like that. Okay. Abdul Malik, Hassan Nuruddin. We considered Abdul Malik them like children, and Hashim Alauddin them. Hashim, I hate to take all this time, but I would rather do this now than later. Hashim says, we having a meeting, and it reminded me of a time when Hashim was teaching down at Al-Ghazali School. Yeah, he was a teacher in Houston, at the big center. He was in there talking all that black talk. And so I couldn't take no more. Then the kids, it was three, I had three fan club members. These was young ladies at that time. They was young girls at that time. In those days, I could talk to them, da. They could feed me information. But the last time I saw one of them, she's a student down here in Dixie somewhere. Imam Musa, I said, I'm not blind. I said, those are the old days. I said, you may not see yourself, but I do. I said, all that giggling and in the corner talking, I said, we can't do that no more. You and the other partners too. You know, they was grown, but this was good grown. You know, usually foreigners are not built certain ways. And I said, no, those days is over. Y'all can't jump up and give me no big hug. No, that's all over, finished. That's all finished. But anyway, the discussion about Hashem, I said, yeah, at y'all's school, Hashem, he said, Hashem teaches us to hate our parents and to do this, that, and another. I was just going to mention something else. So I thought so. Because he'd be in class talking all that black talk. You know, like he was at the black liberation thing. And we had a meeting in Oakland. If you think I'm lying, call the people in Oakland. Abdul Malik was there. Abdul Malik's wife. The whole crew was there. And all the tenders at Berkeley, nice young ladies, was calling and coming by. I was one of the main Masjid in those days. Alhamdulillah. Imam Musa, can you fix me up? I'd like to get married. Let Hashem know. I said, so I'm the messenger. He's turning everybody down. I said, even I was maybe, I said, boy, these is, you know, Berkeley, these is, the tender as they was, the less he wanted to have something to do with him. And then he said in a meeting, and there was only one or two brothers there, and the rest was sisters. You could not melt a black woman and pour on me. This is Mr. Black, and he was at the black meetings talking black. I said, that nigga. And everybody called him in Oakland. You want to call Abdul Malik? Call all of them. He said at the meeting, you could not marry a black woman and pour on me. And that's true. His second wife is now an Iranian. His first wife was Iranian, and not a black-haired Iranian, but one of them kind that they all like. They got them to have greeny, grayish eyes too, but they like them over there. And lighter hair, he ain't married no black-haired Iranian with that. I'm telling you about now. And he was talking black. That's all he was talking. That's the kind of people we've been putting up with. And you know what? When they have the last time I seen him was at a Malcolm X program, and he's teaching about Malcolm X in black at UC Berkeley, ready to get his PhD, probably got it by now. I'm just telling you, you have to have patience to put up with all of that stuff, because this is not short range. But if you have sabr, by the time you deal with all of this, you will know everybody and everything. That's why 95% of ability, we say it every week, is stickability. I'm going to speed up. So our crew, whether it's Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, Lebanon, Iran. Sometimes your team is out and sometimes your team is in. If y'all remember, I had a letter a while back saying we want to get you over there because the other team is coming in, the ones that's going out. Now, our team is coming in. What happened last week when I gave a talk, that was a little surprise. But I was not saying it to our team. That was to their teams. Because the ones left over here, that's mostly boss man's team, right? The ones that are here in the U.S., okay, any government is going to filter in a few people, but the people that's on the same team that I am cannot communicate with me because they would show the hand. One of the reasons that they assaulted me in Oakland was because they wanted to force me to go to the people I trust and I like. And I didn't do it because I knew that's what they was doing. Who was telling them to do it? It was on November the 4th. What day is that? That's Mark Bagamrika Day. I don't know if y'all remember, but I was talking to, what's the name over there? The big shot. And I said, yeah, they did this, that, and other. On. He said, that was our, I said, okay, no problem. Yeah. So all I can say is, dear believers, we're in pocket. It's not that we believe in martyrdom of victory, but we do. And this world that we're living in needs to be operating properly. It's not like you could do in the old days and don't worry about the air and the water because it was. Now the human being done covered the planet so much that he controls the planet. That means the whole planet. He's made the planet sick. If you want to see, if you get sick sometime, your body turns it with a fever, right? A fever to get rid of that whatever you got. Sometimes it gets chills, right? Okay, I want you to look at the earth that we're living, the earth that we're living in. You and I got to get busy right away. Now, it ain't too bad with me, but see, y'all still semi-young. I'll be gone soon. So technically, I think it'll last another 10 years at least, maybe. Have you noticed the speed of declination, the decline? You know, when you up on a highway and you start going downhill, what happened? You pick up speed. That's why the police is always at the bottom of the hill and never at the top. Because when you're going up the hill, you're not going to pick up no speed. You're going to just barely get up there. But when you come down, that inertia and everything, so they write all their tickets at the bottom of the hill or at close to the bottom. You always see them duck back in there and here they come, right? The system is in a decline, and we've been talking about it for years, but I don't want us to be jackasses and not hear it. You don't know, the earth get a fever, get a chill, right? It's heating up. If they tell you it's 121 degrees way up in Canada, what do you need? 121. 121 degrees. In Canada, not down in at Furnace Creek, in Iraq and Basra, fine. In Libya, in the desert, fine. 121 is normal. Can you imagine? The hottest temperature on earth, they said, is 134, 136, something like that, I don't know. But it's like that. It's it was 130 out there in the desert in California twice last year. 121 in Canada. And British Columbia, you know what that is? That's those big, nice, tall trees. And guess what? Nobody has air conditioning up there. It don't get that hot. Like in France, all them people died a few years back because it was too hot. They didn't have air conditioning in France. I'm trying to say, the world, everything is so polluted and so messed up that we have to reorganize this. And the people that's running things are not going to do it. They're going out, they just went to outer space. They just went to outer space. And the ocean is like a sewer. A sewer. Right? A sewer. And they went to outer space. Right? Okay. You can see their priorities. Okay, let me.
The terminology they use, just like they talked about the war on drugs and the war on poverty. I was listening to NPR before I came. Somebody wrote a book that basically the title had to do with a war on climate to save the climate.
Yeah, war on climate. That's what you had to just have a war on climate.
So, just from that standpoint, their psychology hasn't changed.
You know, like, to me, we're in a scriptural period. It's exactly the same talk in Noah's time. The same talk during Musa's time. The same talk during all of the Anbiya. Things is, okay, if we don't do something with Sodom and Gomorrah, it's going to mess things up. Well, at that time, it wasn't going to mess up the whole world. But that was regional. All of those things, the world now is scriptural. Floods of biblical proportions, right? How long has that been going on? 25 or 30 years. They was talking about floods of biblical proportions when we was over on A Street. Floods of biblical proportions. The earth is sick, and they won't fix it, they won't heal it. And you and I don't have the power to do it. So, this is getting close to our last offer. Our offer to Boss Man is saying, look, Boss Man, I know how you are, and da-da-da-da. But if you don't want to fix it, try to pull back a ways. Stay out of the way. Everything that's mentioned in scriptures, in history, the concentration of wealth, riba, the rich get richer. They're begging you to borrow money so you can, right, go broke. And the people go down there and borrow money. I tell my family, never borrow any money. Well, if you just borrow a little, I said, knock yourself out. Just don't come to me about nothing. If you want to be a dummy, If you're living a debt-free life right now, and how many people live a debt-free life? You're a student. Go ask the other students. Yeah, all my friends, they this and that. They trying to pay back loans. They do. I said, yes. And they're dumb. They're going to be working forever to pay back. I mean, they may never pay it back. They may die. Students nowadays, they may die owing money. Anyway, let me speed up. Now, I want you to just remember about the quality of life. If you're in debt and all of those things, if you're not feeling human and such, life is not fun like it can be. You know, life is not, now people look at the life technically that I live and they say, man, I wouldn't want to do that. Well, I'm sorry. They got the wrong idea. I haven't even seen nobody. Maybe they are as happy as I am. Maybe they are. But I was raised for this mission. I was raised to do this. That's what Allah hooked me up to do this. That's the way I look at it. And all the stuff in between. And all that fast life and big life. Allah got that out of me when I was in my 20s. I never had to go. Nobody can corrupt nobody or scare you, because if you a gangster, can't nobody scare you, technically, right? Them niggas, oh hallelujah, and them niggas, they're trying to scare me. This is unbelievable. We're going to do this to you. And you're going to be alone. Hey, anyway. Okay, Abdullah, the As-Sabiqun Liberation Organization. We won't talk about all those things. The head of every office. Okay. I'm a functional consultant for righteousness. A functional consultant for righteousness. Boy, that's a big title there. Okay, we'll just go over it and see if we've ever consulted or suggested anything unrighteous, or even suggested it. I remember you could tell what people say right off the bat, like Mukhtar and learned from the police that that's what they, like the SEAL teams and stuff. If you wake somebody up in the middle of the night, they should be able to tell you what their goal is and everything. Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, if you're surprised, we was cutting that tree out there, and one of the brothers was saying, well, if it's not on if they got to handle this part on their property, that something like that, you don't have to. You're not responsible, but the tree is on our property. I said, oh no, I ain't gonna do that. I didn't even waste no time. Then I realized, okay, this stuff is it's ingrained. I don't want no gravy from. I say that's my responsibility. The dumb city can say anything they want. I'm not going with them because I don't have to pay nothing, because the thing fall on their property, the damn roots. So I got 50 years to trim the thing down. And it falls and breaks the other guy's house next door, and you're not responsible. I said, oh no, not the brother. It's not a big responsibility now, because I told him that I would take care of this, that, and another, and that he could hook up with it. The point I'm making is that's ethics. It's natural. It's ingrained. It's not anything phony. And I know it. You have to do like know yourself, know your enemy, 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. So it don't make no difference what all of them say. It's what you know. And don't you worry, we'll get them all in a room sometime in the future, and they'll have to bear up for what they've been talking about. Maybe, if not, it doesn't make a big difference. Okay. Outline behavior, friends and family work on. We're focused pattern. Da, da, da. I'm not going to waste y'all's time with family right now. I just say this. Family, that means sons and daughters. Everybody have been influenced by boss man. Everybody in my family. Okay, now at first, years ago, everybody was with me. But over the years, when it wasn't what they could see and taste, they went with boss man. Okay, now if you take both of my sons, they heavily into drugs. But if you look at them and you look at their friends, when you look at their photo albums, everybody in their photo album is dead. Now, they put my sons in jail to keep them away from me. Because we'd all be hanging at the Masjid, we'd all travel together, and they said, we're going to get rid of them niggas. Because they lived a Negro lifestyle, except when they was with me, they lived a Negro lifestyle. And they did decades in jail, both of them. But they're alive. None of their friends are alive. Not a one. No, no, no. They're not alive. And I told them 10 years ago, that's a blessing from Allah. The white man thought he was putting you out of my life, which he was, but he put you on ice to save you so you'll be able to do some good. But they're not in a hurry to do no good right now. They still with boss man. Mostly. Daughters is the same. They listen to their mama and other things, and I test them all the time. But they with their mama and their people. And Fatima slipped up several years ago. Dad, if you was all of that, they would kill you. So that's what they was telling them. Help keep your daddy alive by doing this, that, and other. And they're girls. They don't know the quality of life that I like doing what I'm doing. They know now, because I tell them over and over again, I like doing what I'm doing. I want to do what I want to do. I want the quality of life, not the quantity. Quality is how good it is, not how long it is. Okay? So, all of them, don't worry, they'll be back around. Okay. Wives, brothers, nieces, nephews, grandsons. Technically, I'll just say it. I don't think my grandson is dead. I think because my grandson, like people here, when I'd ask a question, they'd look at Baba Kloon. Same thing with my grandson. When I'd mention something in Oakland, he would look at Mukhtar. And then all the kids around here, one of them live up in some place up there. He got a son here the same age as my son, my grandson. They went out to California. The whole crew was hanging around the masjid, So I don't think, I think they just said he died. Because my son, his father was saying, yeah, and I pressed him. I said, I don't think so. So he finally just said, well, you know more about that type of stuff than I do. He may be. If he's technically dead, they're going to have to pay for it. You can't just go around killing people, you know. Yeah, boss man has to pay, but that's where taking your time and patience. Why do we know this is it for boss man? Because he's never had to deal with this before. He never dealt with evolutionary Negroes. Evolutionary Negroes are not revolutionary Negroes. It's easy to get rid of revolutionary Negroes. Just go down and shoot them. Right? Evolutionary Negroes, they don't show their hand as much, and they know how to pretend, and then they evolve, and pretty soon they out-evolve Boss Man himself. Boss Man is an amateur in this thing. Why? Are we doing better than Boss Man according to what we do, or is Boss Man doing better? Is America doing better for what it is, or are we doing better? It's according to what you call better. I say we're doing better. Way better than Boss Man. Because we're going to be part of the solution. The people is paying Boss Man, and now he got the Zionists in there big time. Lucky to be alive. Okay, daily programs. Care, we might stop by Care and we're going to do a few stuff here in the near future. Tell our story. That's what we're getting ready to do. And we're going to tell it in the right way. Starts Monday morning, missionary zeal. That means tomorrow. Okay, we're going to start doing this. We're going to start, we say that every other day for years, and we still mean it. You know what that means? That every day we get up, we have a new idea that just fires you up. You know which idea it is? The same one you had the other day, but it seems brand new. That's why when you're resting, you're resting. We already did our rest period. Now we're not resting anymore. We're ready to go to work. For whatever it takes to do what we got. Starts Monday morning with missionary zeal. That's tomorrow. But we could have said the same thing, I don't know when ago. Tell whole in-depth story. Respond to today's environment. I talked about that before. Expose Negro Shia behavior. Well, we'll expose it when we get ready. In conjunction, with Negro Sunni historical behavior. Oh, okay. So that means we're going to tell on everybody. The Sunnis and the Shia. Yes, that's why we're still alive, to tell on. And ain't nobody can do. Because all this stuff has been put out in repetitive, year after year. It's stacks of CDs. And if nobody hears anything we've said here today, or last week, or last month, the same thing was said 10 years ago. Right? And every time we left, we took a few CDs and dropped them off here and dropped them off there. Just drop it off. And DVDs, and it's no problem. So, ain't nothing nobody can do about it. What we're talking about, it's already a done deal. It's a done deal. Because we have stuck to our part, we have stuck to our mission, and As-Sabiqun, those who lead the way or those who show the way. Which one of us? Right now, they cut leadership out, so it's those that show the way. See, that's what Sayyid Qutb give you the two choices. It says those who lead the way, the ayat we use, they lead people that way. Those who show the way, that's us. I'll move toward a close, but we have overbilled Boss Man. He's overbilled. Does anybody know anything about this Pegasus type program? Uh, that Israeli stuff that locks on and yeah, okay.
Israeli company, not the government. They're saying it's an Israeli company.
Well, I be dog, and the company don't have nothing to do with the government. Whatever they get back, they don't tell the government.
Well, I mean, of course, that's what they're saying. It's an
Yeah.
Israeli company that's basically out. People are buying it from this company and using it
Against their people.
against their people.
And it's always, whether it's Khashoggi or whoever, it's always used against the people. Okay, now I got to remember, the Zionist is the number one target. That's the big enemy. The federal government is the number two target. Because the Zionists are manipulating the government now, here, this government. The Jews are in full control. If you notice, blame is shifting from the government to the Zionists. The stuff that's going on around the world is shifting to where it belongs. Okay, you have to remember that all the stuff that we have established and had to swallow and had to deal with, that all comes back. What we got to get ready for is when all the sweetness come blowing our way, we have to be prepared to handle it. Because it's going to come our way. It's like, okay, that stuff is all out there. And if we know about it, everybody else know about it.
I was listening to a lecture on the situation in Haiti, and the guy was saying that the richest man in the Caribbean is a Jew, and he lives in Haiti, and he said he has his own like port in Haiti.
Yeah.
And a lot of the weapons, because Haiti supposedly is infiltrated with a lot of high-tech weapons, and those weapons are coming in. So they're everywhere. I mean,
No, that's okay. The Gilan, the Israeli, in Central America, South America, a lot of the different groups, their weapons come through Israeli organizations, and all that stuff. But you got to remember, all that's good because all the revolutionaries, the counter-revolutionaries is using Israeli weapons, Israeli spyware. So all the good people have to do is win, which they will. You got to remember now, the bad guys are in charge now. The Israelis, the Americans, all the fitna going on in the world. Those are the bad guys. Abu Ghraib, all America, everything is right. All right, now, later on, the good guys start coming to power. You could see, let's call them our allies just for a minute, right? Look how the Yemenis been holding up. They ain't got nothing, man. They ain't got. It's only heart. It ain't nothing else holding them up. Starvation. overwhelmed by weapons, they're holding up. Iraq, Syria, whole thing is just destroyed. They destroyed it, right? All right. In Syria, our home folks are making, what do they call them, Shias or whatever they, it was always a little Shia population in Syria, but most of them was Alawiyan, Alawi. They said Ali is Allah. Shias know better than that. I mean, but they kind of in the semi-club, No, you got to realize everywhere you look at Lebanon, they hurt bad, but that's our team. Look at Iran. For 40 something years, they've been squeezing Iran and they still there. And they've made more progress in agriculture, in highways, in every system. You would think it was a little China or somewhere in our area. The tomatoes down there, they look good, but a tomato from Iran weighs twice as much as those tomatoes. Heavier, because it's real food. I'm just trying to say, we think that this is, some of the signs say our team is in, but we'll wait till the middle period. Okay, I want to close with a couple of statements and just say a few things. Like, for instance, if the little car, it'll run. I can put water in it and drive it up to the store and back and then put some more in it later. It's the same thing it's been. Okay, anybody want to fix it or take it back to where the guy had it? That's fine with me. But I'm not doing nothing to it. They can fix it or not. The one out there, if somebody want to fix it, take it to somebody, they can do anything they want. It's okay. I'm not doing nothing to it. I'm hitting the bricks. I'm walking. I'm on the bus. I'm on the metro, whether here all the way to California. If things not fixed, I'm not driving it to California because it ain't going to California. I have to change, fill it up with water before we leave town. Okay, that's one thing. We're kind of a little new dispensation. What did somebody say before they wanted to have a wedding here or something? It wasn't yesterday? Oh, okay. Who? Well, that's all right since it's canceled. That's one thing. Okay, that's canceled. I didn't know when it was, whether it was then in the future or what have you. But see, they try to do little dumb stuff as though it would affect anything. Like, I don't know if the biggest janaza that was ever here, it was two gigantic ones. One was when we had our program in 2002. It was a janaza here. The youngsters was killing each other around that time, It was, the people was so packed in here, it was like sardines. The next one was Brother Tufel did it, and the people was all up the street and all around, and they wanted him to do it. It's okay. But I noticed all of them, the people wasn't paying attention. They were city workers. They were mostly government workers. You could tell they were government workers. It don't mean that if our people are government workers too. It doesn't mean that. But the game we playing now, the hell ain't government workers. We got enough sense to know who the police is. We've been here too long. It don't go like that. I'm sorry. This is not a game of hide and seek now. I'm saying that we should adopt a new policy of niggerism, whatever you want to call it. We got to, technically, I'm not going for that little old T9. Nobody knows what we're doing over here. Well, we got two damn things right there. When I get something on it, it says two likes. I don't believe that. Before it was saying like 40, 50 was going up, and as soon as it started going up, it was changed to another damn system. Okay. It don't make no difference, because that's why I always make sure that I got the CDs. Whatever the DVDs, CDs, we'll get another system when we get ready. Huh?
What was the change in the system?
I don't remember. I remember that we had one system where we had hundreds of people looking, and it would get, I remember some number, 189, and then it started going down. Something was changed. I don't know what it was. Don't worry, I'm just saying. I have no idea. But I know it changed, and I know that the people, I know the quality of what we're doing. Even somebody, it's not, I remember from way back, those were long khutbahs too, way, way back. People was listening to them. People was watching them. People was buying them. We used to sell them right after, even when Ahmed would fix them up right here. Yeah. Ahmed is doing something out there, and other stuff. But at the same time, I mean, I know when we had oud oil and we had all that when we first moved over here downstairs, and it popped up missing, and they wanted us to raid these people over here. I stood back. I stayed in that doorway down there, because there's nobody know it was oud down there but 2-3 people, and they happened to sell oil. I mean, that was 100 years ago. Whatever we've been doing is repetitive. I'm saying that everything that we've tried to introduce to people have some kind of way, his whole list of it. It comes up kind of correct. That's all I'm saying. If it's not, then let's have dialogue. Tell me, no, Imam Musa, you ain't been right none. You've been right only 60% of the time. I've been paying. If somebody, or, yeah, brother, I think it's been up in the high 90s. Something like that. Across the board, on everything we see. Now, there's some things that happen that people don't see. So there's as many things going on that you don't see than it is that you do see. I'm saying the things that everybody have witnessed here, it's been a certain way. And I'm also saying the trends is going away from that. I'm saying to our friends, don't hang around with boss man till the sucker take you all the way down. When you start going down, it's hard to start going, right? When you start going in a decline, it's hard to recover. Boss man is in a decline. We can't hang on to him like, well, I got my kids in school. I eventually want them to go to college. That stuff is not going to be important soon. And he ain't going to be, if you see, first you got to be big sometime to find out what happened. is ask anybody that never been big in town or important or presidential anything. When you in, people treat you real big time. Or when you the big man in town, but when you start, the old saying, you meet the same people on the way up as when you're going down. In other words, when you coming up, you be meeting people along the way. And when you're going down, you're meeting them too. It's just that you're headed in a different direction. They may be headed in a different direction. And what we're doing now, historically, globally, is all the same. It is maybe 1 or 2% chances that boss man won't go down. Maybe he'll defeat China. Maybe the homeless won't devour everything. Maybe hell, right? Don't look like that. The direction that everything is going in, we're trying to get there and be an aid and a solution to us. We have to do that on our own because boss man is not loosening up and saying, I'll tell you what he's trying to do. He's trying to manage us in his own way, and I'm not going for it. The stuff that he's done in the last few years are obvious. I can beat him in court, and he knows it. Everybody knows. He's doing it on purpose for that. So that I will go according to what he wants. I'm not going according to because he don't have good sense. And that's what I'm trying to tell him. And that for people in the FBI with him got to go in there and say, the ones that want to remain with their Americanism, that is the FBI and all them other white folks. If there's 10% of good FBI agents, they got to listen to this and act like and develop a Negro support mechanism or stay away from the nigger. Right? That's what they got to do. We're not going to change and do it their way. We're not going to change and do it their way because they don't have, I hate to say it, they don't have no sense. They're not in the, like you can look in the ring, he ain't fighting like he used to. He ain't on course. He's not connecting. He's throwing blows and he's not hitting nothing. He might as well throw them at himself, right? He's not connecting with nothing. He's not connecting economically, right? The ships come into America and they go out empty, right? That means there's no export. He's consuming from everybody. It's just normal. Everything is coming in. Nothing is going out. The ships come in and they go out of San Pedro, they go out of LA, they go here, they go out empty. That means America is not exporting. The American dollar has to crash. Everybody else is paying attention to it, right? That's why the yuan, the Chinamans, and all of that, okay. We'll deal with the Chinese later. They got to get on their job. They just had a nice 100-year celebration, but they're creeping into colonialism. They got to stop that. It's still not time. It's still enough time to get to them and say, you got to slow down. You got to get back to where you was decades ago when you'd loan an African country something and build a railroad for 1% or 2%. You got to get out of that. Okay. They're getting worse, but they still better. They would be considered over in our area more than boss man. Boss man is the big one that's going down. He going down, and it can't be long. Why? Hell, look at everything now. How long do you think it's going to take for boss man to be finished? How long? I mean, just regular mathematics. Are we imagining things? Let's look at it and see. Are we imagining things? Are we imagining things? Are we imagining the climate? Are we imagining the weather? Are we imagining the production? Are we imagining inflation? Are we imagining that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer by huge? Remember several years ago, the 99%? It ain't that no more. It's 99.75%. In other words, a handful of people is getting all the money. Right? Bigger every. Okay. If that's not happening, let's discuss it. Try to figure out exactly what it was. Because, see, you got to figure out which way things is going so you can be in the right place. You have to take the right road, the right highway. And when shipments is coming through, you have to be there so that you could get yours, so that you can produce and do what's good for you and for what's good for your people. Is America have a history of being fair? Yeah, sure it has. It's been fair with everybody. That's what I heard. I heard America, freedom, justice, and equality, right? Love, peace, happiness. I'm not going to read all of these. These are from 10 years ago. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. Design destiny, design future, design process. Global transformation, the proper method of goal attainment. And then it has things like during this period of global evolution, we're reaching out to all people of goodwill who wish to participate in efforts of global redesign. Achieving this ultimate vision, we are working diligently to reform even those who have worked and cooperated with Zionist American organizations as saboteurs, agent provocateurs, infiltrators, and traitors. This includes misguided believers who have snitched on their own brothers and sisters. In other words, we already know what this is 10 years old. It was old then. You could read some of the stuff we got goes back 28, 30 years. It says the same thing because the environment is the same. Okay, we won't bother with triangle of terror. This is good, but we don't have time to. Stalingrad to Oakland. Boy, look at here. That's a good one. Imam Musa denied re-entry to U.S. from South Africa. They probably may not remember now. This is way back in September 4th, 13. Good God, that's a while back. This is the roster for everybody that works in the airport in Johannesburg. You know, on a shift, they gave me this note, U.S. check form, flight 207 for September, Johannesburg, for customer reams, do not board. Customer received from regulatory authority, do not board. So if people can remember, I made enough so people would remember, but they kind of forget. So out of all of these people, some of them is going to remember. Some of them is going to remember. Right? What I'm saying is, I got the whole airport. I got their numbers. I got their jobs. Some of them will remember. Some of them will remember that I went back and I put this on there. This is a U.S. Embassy, U.S. Mission in South Africa. When I went to the embassy, not the embassy, the consulate, all they looked like CIA agents, jeans on down here, and they wasn't smiling, and usually try to. They was CIA. They was their job to deal with me. When we was down, I'm gonna close in a minute. When we was down at the Willard Hotel, our brother and I, it was people doing these recordings and what have you. And they said, yeah, we're on loan to somebody. I looked down and saw all the equipment. I said, man, that's so no, we're on loan. So sure. So I tested the white boys. Some of them would come here. They were general white boys working with some from Virginia. Man, my relatives down in Virginia. I'm living in Sacramento now, California. So he's more Californian than he is Virginian. Man, the people down here, Uncle Bud and all of them, they remember all them statues they talk about now. They remember them Dixie down there. They can recite to you who got killed in every battle in the Civil War, like it was last month. That's why when you taking down them statues, they remember everything about that. That's all they talk about when they drinking beer, the good old days, when niggas was picking cotton and the white man was big time. It's like niggas is big and they always talking about the old days, like the niggas do in Oakland. Man, remember when it was 50 years ago the nigga was big. White folks, when they was big down here in Dixie, they don't care, as long as they live, they're going to pass it on to their children and their children. You can talk to somebody, well, not across the 14th Street Bridge, but way down when you get in Virginia, the capital of the Confederacy, all them schools, Jeb Bush School and all that, you're really hurting their feelings, and they remember all of that. Right? That's what I'm saying. Is we got to remember all the stuff we're doing because we're making an effect. And if we don't do it, I don't think anybody else is headed that way. We're looking for people. Have you found anybody that's doing like this in America? I haven't. The niggas are sold out. They don't have any dreams of vision. They don't even want. Can you imagine? There's niggas that don't want to be free. They don't want to be off the plantation. Them old time uncles, and your mamas and all that from the old days, they ain't nothing compared to these educated niggas here. I don't believe we can do it. We got it better. Like the Zionists said in the Bible, we had it better at the flesh pots of Pharaoh. When Moses brought him across the sea, it don't say that in the Quran, but it says almost that. We had it better at the flesh pots of Pharaoh. All this freedom, running around out here in the sunshine, baking and carrying on. We had it better in slavery. Oh, so you think people don't say that? Have you ever been around and the Negro said, I'm glad that we was brought over here in slavery so we could find Jesus Christ. Anybody ever heard that? Yes, you got doggone right, it's true. You doggone. When I first heard it, I was in the penitentiary. I kept looking, the white folks who was in a religious class, It was everybody there. It was white mafia gangsters trying to pretend they was religious so they could get out and board. Them people is funny. And then one nigga, and I heard it right after that on TV. I'm glad we was brought over here and put in slavery so that we could find the Lord Jesus Christ. I didn't even look up. I didn't look up at all. I felt it, and all the white folks said, this nigga here, we didn't mean to do that to the nigga. We wanted to get him to the Lord, but not run him crazy. Everybody knew that the nigga was crazy. Yeah, it's
Wedding, my uncle kind of talks like we talk. Gary, Indiana is like blown out. So he's like, look, we should start buying property. He said some of my family members told him, white folks ain't gonna let you do that.
yeah.
And this is the side of the family that was kind of in the game. They from the other side of the tracks. So you would think they would have a little consciousness about it. He said, man, he was hurt. He said, cousins that I kind of respect, said, white folks ain't gonna let you do that.
Yeah, that's what look, it's unbelievable. All I'm saying, brothers, let's be a little different. Let's go for it this time. Hell, it ain't gonna hurt. You can just go to the pen. You get busted upside the head a few times. If you get shot, you go to paradise. So what? I'm telling you, if you haven't never had fun, if you think that I'm not having fun, you're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. Real wrong. It's fun up here talking about the white man, and it happened. Boss man on the line. I got that cracker on the line, and it's true. And you get to mess with his behavior. Yeah, I got that cracker domesticated. You think that ain't fun? And it's true that you domesticate the white man. You can be beyond, you can be out of his authority. See, after you get above level 3 or 4, you end up in different rounds now. It's like when Ali carried Foreman up to the 8th round. Foreman never fought no. Foreman is a champ. He knocked niggas out, just the wind coming by him, right? Whew, that nigga fall down. Right? He never fought no more rounds. The white man haven't been no rounds. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why this 40-something years we got, and technically over 50 years, he never had nobody to have. He's paralyzed. How you think we can make fun and talk? The cracker is paralyzed, and he paranoid. He don't know if we do something to that nigga, this may happen. And then some is in it. Don't bother that nigga, cause man, you gotta take it easy. Do you know he'll have the nigga got bad luck? He'll put bad luck on you. Yeah, that's what other people think about white. That's what we doing to him. We're doing to him what he been doing to us. We got him paranoid and uncomfortable. He ain't sure of himself. He can't be sure of himself because everything he said about us has been wrong. For 50 years, he was wrong. Get money, he gonna get so big, he ain't gonna want to help no other niggas. We got big, and we started. That's what we did, is we helped everybody. East Oakland Enterprises, the Ward brothers, the all other big people, they ain't helped nobody. And then they wind up, 2 of them, they found the Lord at the church. The other one, anyway, they found the Lord, and they all passed now. But all of them they died almost broke. and Jesus freaks. Our brothers was the biggest pimps and players. It was Jesus. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And my partner, the church they go to, he came by the Masjid in 81. He said, man, why are you dealing with Islam? Why don't you know? I said, well, actually, I kind of believe it. I believe it. That's what I was telling. And all the people that go with the Lord, they all with him. You know. And I was telling him, so he said, man, I got this thing. I'm going to get us all some money, like the government money. I said, I don't take government money. He said, no, I don't take no government. I don't want none. And all of them, the ones that survived, and that still at least somewhere along the line, I'll close in a minute. I know it's getting late. Dear believers, let's give it a try. Try to find out. There's things like esprit de corps, and there's things like pretend you're like was in a gang or a bunch of gunfighters, and see it like the OK Corral. The white man has got everything over there, and it's just a few of us. And we get back to back, and we fight the white man and win. That's nice. Just look at it like that. It's possible. It's possible. But I'm just telling you, it's possible. He's fighting in an area he's not accustomed to. And the world, too, is not with us, but the world is against him. And the other part of the world is neutral on him, waiting to see which way it go. And guess which way it's already leaning? There is, and I'll close with this, there is a slim possibility that he may pull through for some time to come. But it's slim. Every book you ever read, every group you've ever seen, every sign, talks about ayats. Look on the ayats. Boys, ayats of Allah. All of those signs are with us. Ayat after ayat after ayat. And I don't have from the concordance, but there's like hundreds of, where concordance where it has ayat that has everything under that, or if it has sadaka, it has all the ayats under. I'm trying to tell you. Are there any questions or comments about anything? Any questions or comments?
Another comment said, we go back over 50 years, met you through Doc.
Good God Almighty. Yep. Yeah, Doc was number 2. He was our number 2 man. It was me, then Doc, then Mello. Mello died the other day. Yep. Yeah, tell him I'm glad to hear. Say if some of them was here, I'll tell him if he met me with Doc, then tell him to tell everybody, download what he got off here and send it to everybody that's still alive. Yeah, send it to everybody that's still alive.
So these are individuals that experience East Oakland Enterprise.
Yeah, they was right there. They didn't. Doc experienced it, and Mike experienced it firsthand. All of them experienced it firsthand. East Oakland Enterprises, where we were in charge of. It was like being the Godfather, but a nice guy.
No, I get it. I'm
No, it was no. They experienced East Oakland Enterprises. I mean, and we were young too. I think the oldest was Doc. He was a few months older than me, and everybody else was young. I mean, they was like they wasn't kids, but they was the early 20s. When I was 22, when I met Mike, and I was talking to him, I said, he used to buy smoke from me all the time. He was with the Panthers and all that. Johnny Gunn was his best friend. And he had a little crew, so I said, young blood, you want to drive Cadillacs? Yes, sir, I sure do. Because he was buying kind of regular. So I had a Cadillac a few years old, nice convertible, gangster window. This was a bad boy. So I put him in the game, and he was handling, and it all came. It was a very serious experience, but there was a difference. Is that we wanted everybody to get money. Other people wanted other people to get money themselves. They wanted to get money, but they wasn't concerned. I'll give you an example. I had friends that was boxers. So you go down, I did it a couple of times. You get to Oakland Auditorium and, let your manager manage get a few fights. So that was like Don King would do. But our people wasn't thinking like they would barely give me the little money back, but I would put it up. So what was I saying? Whatever we do, if you're in a fight game, you control your fight game. Shoot, do your own fights, right? If you have houses, people live in houses, get your own houses. Stop paying rent to other people, right? And get your own. I'm saying we did that. I probably was about 23, 24 years old I was. Because I left the country when I just turned 26. I left the United States when I turned 26. So we did, all of that stuff happening in Oakland was all when we was just barely, if you look at the pictures, you'll say, them niggas was kids. But we was black. I'm telling you, it was big. It was bigger than anything. It was bigger than anything happened in the United States. Not bigger than things in New York or Chicago, but it was the biggest thing going for black people. Nobody was instituting that. It was other people coming up around the country, but they was getting money for themselves. They wasn't getting money for everybody or giving people opportunity to get money. That's why East Oakland Enterprises, when I go to Oakland now, most of the people have passed away. But that's all they talk about is that period then. I said, man, that was 100 years ago, and what about a little Islam and, guess what? I was with the chief of Muga Booga last week. I was in South, nothing. It's what he was doing then. And when they was younger, remember we used to do this? Anyway, any more questions or comments?
Well, brother just say my brother,
Right, okay. No, I kind of figure who it is. We'll take that stuff and we'll read up on it and get another site and put the same stuff on it and make it, whatever advertising, whatever we do, we got it covered, Yeah, we got, if people just have to have patience to watch it. But I'm not going to cut this stuff back because they talk about the time. Well, hell, watch half of it and turn it off. That's all. Right? just say, I can't stand no more. But I believe if they have any consciousness at all, that if they start listening to this stuff and they start researching to find out, I believe that nigga lying. All they got to do, they got a cousin in Oakland, they got somebody's in San Francisco. You ever heard of this nigga? Or somebody who's in L.A.? You ever heard of some nigga so-and-so and so? Yeah, man, that's all it takes. Then they'll know that's actually true. Okay, that's the difference. It's actually true. Okay, if there's no questions or comments, Sakula Kali Hada, Wastaghfirullah.